The next item on the agenda is events. Yeah, we're happy to move to the next item.
Look, I don't really think we can go there until we resolve the volunteer policy stuff. I feel like that hasn't been addressed. I keep bringing it up to this environment. We're talking about events, and that's important, but we don't get to do good events without having really quality volunteers, and so we need to pay a bit of service to that and put our money where our mouth is, and put a bit of time and develop this volunteer policy. So there's clarity. There's a lot of confusion at the moment.
At 3, aren't we, today?
Yeah, but see, this is exactly what I'm talking about, is that there seems to be very little interest in taking care of our volunteers. Now, all these events that you want to talk about, you can't do without the volunteers,
So let's just pause for a sec, because yes, we do have that time commitment. We are going to finish by 3, but it sounds like there's a lot of energy around this, and I can hear the frustration. Obviously, this has been something that has not been advanced. Is that right?
No, I mean, I'm sick of bringing it up here. Nobody seems to care, and people are quite happy to use volunteers when they need them, but they don't want to support in creating a policy that's going to create consistency of their experience across the board.
Is this making sense, what Natalie's saying? It's obviously a big issue, and it's kind of underpinning a lot of the other work that we're doing, I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Given the amount of time that we've got, are people happy to just move from events, because events kind of run with that volunteer energy, and we actually look at the volunteer policy? Because it sounds like there are some gaps there, and then it could be a bit of a
it just needs to be reviewed so we can create consistency, because at the moment people are using bits and other bits are not being used. So it's just about getting clarity on that.
Great. All right. Well, let's do that. Yeah? Okay, terrific. Is everyone happy for us to do that? And if we give half an hour to it and see where we arrive at, then that should give us a bit more time to work on the other items. People happy?
Great.
Yep, good. Yeah. Okay, great. Look, we've got enough time then to keep moving and to cover off on these last two agenda items.
I don't think I'm there yet in terms of the moving, because I feel like we still need to spend a bit of time here with the volunteer policy. There's a major issue there that I don't think we've gotten to yet.
Let's just pause for a sec.
And it includes staff, and it's
Okay, I'm hearing that. I'm aware we spent a lot of time here, but it's obviously we haven't captured something. So are you able to, in a nutshell, tell us what that is? Because we have captured a lot of stuff on the butcher's paper. What is it that we haven't seen? And before you say that, is everyone okay if we just stay here for a moment longer? Because I don't think we've actually heard what Natalie's saying here. I will make sure there's enough time for those other items.
Yeah, because we've only got until 3 p.m.
It's true.
Yeah, but this is important stuff.
So this has been a long time coming, so thank you for the patience. I'll just give it a couple of minutes just so that we can make sure we capture it. Won't be able to go into it in detail, but we'll capture it.
Yeah, that's fine. The main thing that's not captured up in the butcher's paper is the supervision, the staff supervision of volunteers.
Right.
Yeah, that's super important.
Okay.
And all staff are going to be involved in that in some shape, way or form, and that needs to be captured.
Does that make sense to people? So that's a bit that's just kind of occurred to you by the sounds of it.
It's just occurred to me,
Okay. Let's get that up there then. Thank you. And are you happy with that? Because we'll have to develop this in detail.
Yeah, we're committing to coming back to that, so
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Is everyone ready for us to move forward now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, let's go then.
So, you got someone taking up the airspace, totally dominating a meeting. What do you do?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and a lot of this facilitation business is quite counterintuitive, actually, because you need to get a sense of what's actually going on for some people. And often people who are taking up the space are doing that because unconsciously they don't feel heard. And perhaps they've never felt really heard, and perhaps that's actually because they're always trying to take up space, and so people stop listening to them. And that can be something that happens over a period of time, or it can be around a particular issue that they feel passionately about and other people don't for whatever reason.
Switch off.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that is really important to do is to make sure the person feels like you really understand where they're coming from. Not agreeing, but that's the validation piece where you say, okay, this sounds like a really big issue. Let's hear some more about it. It's almost like you're stepping in as opposed to stepping away from a person. And, so often we hear this idea of shutting a person down as a response, but of course that completely changes your whole dynamic of your relationship with that person and of a group. Our aim as facilitators is to keep the group connected, because that's the resource that you're working with. If the people don't feel connected with each other, you're not going to do good work. So you've got to help that person feel heard and to try and find out what you're not hearing, if that's the case, while at the same time, and this is the balance, making sure that other people feel heard. So let's hear them. What have they got to say? What are we potentially missing? And then once you've captured that, making sure you make it clear both to them and other people in the room that you do need to move on. You do need to hear other people in the room because you've got limited time. If that person keeps on going on, then it's about making sure there's a very clear statement made about the boundaries you're having for their input. And you say, look, we've had a lot of time there, we need to move on. That's the leadership part as a facilitator that you really need to put forward sometimes. So, yeah.
Yeah, got it.
It's quite an interesting, cocktail of things going on there.